Hey everyone. It's really amazing to see how AI is changing things up in so many areas these days.
Yeah.
But have you ever thought about uh, what it could do for something as important as local news?
Right.
Like really important to all of us.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into the Lenfest Institute and their huge plan to use AI to like revitalize local news.
Yeah. This is really fascinating because, we all know the problems that local journalism has had in recent years.
Oh, for sure.
And so now there's this really big effort to, use AI to make things sustainable and, just innovate.
Yeah, and it's pretty impressive the amount of resources they're putting behind it.
Oh, yeah.
This is a $10 million initiative, and it's a partnership between the Lenfest Institute for Journalism,
Wow.
OpenAI, and Microsoft.
Really impressive.
And they're calling it the Lenfest Institute AI Collaborative.
Yeah, when you see an investment like that, it really means that they're serious about it. They're not just like dipping their toes in the water. They really want to see how they can make local newsrooms better for the long run.
Exactly. And a key part of all this is this 2-year fellowship program.
Oh, okay.
And they've already got AI fellows working at some really big news companies all over the U.S.
Yeah, like who?
You've got Chicago Public Media,
Uh-huh.
the Minnesota Star Tribune,
Uh-huh.
Newsday,
Okay.
the Philadelphia Inquirer,
Oh.
and the Seattle Times.
That's a really good mix of, like different places and different kinds of communities.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really trying to see how AI can be used in lots of different local situations.
Yeah, and they're being really smart about it, too.
Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, let's throw AI at every problem and hope for the best.
Right.
These fellows are zeroing in on specific areas where AI can make a real difference.
Like what?
Well, for example, they're looking at how AI can be used to analyze public data.
Hmm.
They're also trying to find new ways to use those huge news archives that,
Yeah.
most of these organizations have. Yeah. And they're even developing brand new AI tools just for journalism, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, one area that's particularly interesting to me is audience engagement.
Yeah. How so?
Well, imagine if AI could help newsrooms like customize the content and how it's delivered to like better connect with you, the reader,
Okay.
based on, what you're interested in and what you need.
That's a great point because it's not just about making things easier for journalists to do their jobs.
Right.
It's also about making the news more interesting and relevant to everyone.
Exactly. And, if you personalize the news experience, it could help people be more informed and more connected to their community as a whole.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, before we go any further, I think it's important to address something that might be on some people's minds.
Yeah, what's that?
When we talk about AI in journalism, some people might be thinking, are robots going to take over and replace reporters?
Sure, that's a natural concern.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is about at all. This initiative is about using AI to help human journalists do their jobs even better, not to get rid of them.
Okay, so it's more like giving reporters a powerful new set of tools.
Exactly. Think of it like a supercharged research assistant.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, like imagine an AI that could go through tons of data and find patterns or even create first drafts or summaries.
Wow.
That would free up reporters to focus on the parts of journalism that really need a human touch. Like, doing investigations and interviews and telling really compelling stories.
So instead of being afraid that AI is going to take over, we should be looking at it as a way to make journalism better and let reporters go even deeper into the stories that really matter.
Exactly. And in the end, that's good for you, the reader, because you get better, more impactful local news coverage.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks here.
Sure.
One of the things these fellows are focusing on is analyzing public data. So how could AI actually be used in a local context to make that data more meaningful to people?
Okay, let's say your local newsroom is using AI to look at the city budget data, which can be super complicated. Yeah.
The AI could quickly find things like, unusual spending patterns or maybe even areas where money is being wasted.
Oh, wow.
Things that might be buried in those long, boring reports.
That's a fantastic example because all of a sudden those budget reports become much more accessible and relevant to regular people.
Yeah.
And it could even lead to investigations into corruption or mismanagement.
Exactly, and that goes back to one of the most important things local journalism does, holding people in power accountable and giving citizens the information they need to be active in their community.
It really sounds like this initiative could give local newsrooms a huge boost in doing just that. Now, I know we've only scratched the surface of how AI can be used in journalism, but I'm really curious to hear more.
Me too. One thing that I think is really cool about this initiative is that it goes beyond just giving individual newsrooms AI tools.
Okay.
It's about encouraging collaboration and sharing knowledge across the whole industry.
Yeah, that's right. It's not about competition, it's about making local journalism better as a whole.
So how does that work practically?
Well, these news organizations aren't just working by themselves. They're sharing their experiences, the AI things they develop, and even the technical stuff.
So it's like a true team effort where everyone benefits from each other's wins and losses.
Exactly. It's like a rising tide lifts all boats, you know? The good ideas and innovations from one newsroom can be shared and adapted by others, which helps everyone move forward faster.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, I want to shift gears a little bit and bring this back to you, listener name. Think about the stories that matter most to your community. What gets you excited about the possibilities of AI in local news? How could AI help tell those stories better?
Let's go back to that example of analyzing public data. Imagine an AI tool that automatically goes through city council meeting transcripts and picks out keywords related to certain issues like, let's say, environmental concerns. This could help journalists quickly find and report on important local decisions that they might have missed otherwise.
That's a really cool application because those transcripts can be super dense and hard to read.
Yeah.
So this would make them way more accessible and let journalists focus on the bigger picture of what those decisions mean.
Exactly. Or think about how AI could create personalized news alerts based on your interests and location.
Okay.
So you could get updates on hyperlocal issues that affect your daily life, which would create a more engaged and informed community.
So instead of getting bombarded with general headlines, I'm getting news that's actually relevant to me and my neighborhood.
Right.
That's a total game changer.
It really is about making the news experience more personalized. And that increased relevance could lead to people getting more involved in their community.
This all sounds amazing, but I'm sure there are some potential downsides to think about. What about the risk of bias or misinformation being spread by AI?
That's a really important point to consider. It's crucial to remember that this initiative is part of the Lenfest Institute's overall mission to support independent and ethical journalism.
Okay.
The program really emphasizes that humans need to be involved when using AI to make sure it's aligned with journalistic values and standards.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about using it responsibly and ethically.
Exactly. The expertise and experience of journalists are super important. We need to make sure that AI tools are being used to make journalism better, not worse. And that's why it's so reassuring that the Lenfest Institute is involved. They have a great reputation for upholding ethical standards in journalism.
So it sounds like this initiative is part of a much bigger conversation about the future of journalism in the digital age.
Absolutely.
And it's not just the Lenfest Institute leading the way.
Right. This program is actually part of the Lenfest Institute's Local Independent News Coalition, or LINC for short.
Okay.
This coalition involves 8 major independent news organizations, and they're all committed to finding creative ways to support local journalism.
Wow, 8 major organizations. That's incredible.
It really shows a commitment to ensuring the future of local news.
Huh.
And they're not doing this alone.
Oh, really?
They also have support from the Knight Foundation, which is a big philanthropic organization that's dedicated to supporting informed and engaged communities.
That's fantastic.
So it's a truly collaborative effort bringing together some of the best minds in journalism, technology, and philanthropy.
They're really pulling out all the stops. And that makes sense because local news is so vital to our communities.
Absolutely. Local journalism is crucial for keeping those in power accountable, for informing citizens, and for creating a sense of community. It's essential for a healthy democracy. And this AI initiative has the potential to be a game changer, giving local newsrooms the tools and resources they need to succeed in the digital world.
It's really inspiring to see so much effort and creativity being put into revitalizing local news. Okay, so let's recap what we've talked about so far. Okay, so we've been talking about this amazing $10 million project from the Lenfest Institute, OpenAI, and Microsoft that's funding these AI fellows at top news organizations around the country.
Yeah, and we talked about how these fellows are really digging into how AI can be used, to analyze data and engage audiences in new ways and even develop totally new tools for journalists, but all while keeping things ethical, and making sure journalistic integrity is front and center.
It's really incredible to see how this is all part of a bigger movement to breathe new life into local news and make sure it survives in the future.
Yeah.
And what really stands out to me is how much they're emphasizing collaboration and knowledge sharing.
Yeah, For sure.
It's not about individual newsrooms trying to beat each other to the punch.
Right.
It's about working together to make the whole field of local journalism stronger.
Right.
The stuff that comes out of this initiative, the insights and innovations,
Yeah.
they're going to help newsrooms big and small. And that's going to create a much healthier and more resilient ecosystem for local news.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this so exciting to me. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the potential it has to make our communities stronger and give people more power.
For sure.
Just imagine a future where local news is more accessible, more relevant, and more engaging than ever before, all because we're using AI in a smart way.
Right. Imagine everyone being more informed about the things that really matter in their lives and feeling like they can actually make a difference in their community.
Wow. It feels like we're on the verge of a huge shift in how local news is made and consumed.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our final thought-provoking question for you, listener name.
As AI becomes more and more a part of our lives, including the news we read and watch, what role do you see citizens playing in making sure it's being used responsibly?
Yeah.
How can we all work together to make sure AI is a force for good in our communities and our democracy?
That's such an important question for us all to think about. This conversation about AI and local journalism is really just beginning, and it's something we all need to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, listener name. The future of local news is looking brighter than ever.